Hi friends, Mindy here. Today I'm going to be starting my setup for Encamped, which is a 7-week study that Llanet has put together. She is Topknots and Jesus on Instagram and Facebook. And I apologize, first of all, for the voiceover here. I had recorded this in real time and it just got to be too long, so I'm just doing the voiceover and I have sped this up a little bit. So anyway, I'm just going to show you what comes in the free portion of this study, which is these first 8 pages. And these are all the weekly headers, scripture cards that we're going to be studying through. And I'm just flipping through here really quick. And then you can choose to purchase an additional set. This is the only thing that I've purchased so far for this kit. And they have 2 troops, Team Sunshine and Team Godbow. And the printables are slightly different depending on which team that you choose. I will direct you to Llanet to explain more about how all this process is working because she can do it much better than I can. I'm just flipping through here showing you all the things that are available to you. I went ahead and purchased this set. The artwork here is done from Salted Brew, and so I purchased Team Godbow. And I'm going to be making some cards. This was my Advent project last year. And so I'm going to be setting up some cards similar to this. Not memory deck style because they're loose in here, but similar to this. These are my Advent projects from last year. And I'm going to be making them a little bit bigger, but that's kind of the idea. So I'm pulling out some of my supplies. These are all things I've had in my stash forever. These are some papers from Simple Stories, the Oh Happy Day collection. And just really felt like they matched with that really well. And then I pulled out some scraps and some 12 by 12 sheets of paper from Felicity Jane that I also think will match with these cards. And I'm kind of basing everything off of that Encamped card because that's really got all of the colors from this whole kit in it. So just making sure that everything coordinates. I also pulled out some items from Dear Lizzie. This is the She's Magic collection. I have some tags and frames and some stickers and different things. And again, I'm just pulling all of this stuff out of my stash. I went through and just really pulled out everything I thought would coordinate with this kit just to make everything match. So here's some more of that Dear Lizzie collection. I got this collection actually on peachycheap.com. If you don't use that website, I would suggest checking them out. They have some really good deals sometimes especially if you're trying to build up your ephemera stash or whatever. But so anyway, I just pulled out some that I thought, the papers might match or whatever. So I have Dear Lizzie, I have some Amy Tangerine. Also, these are Dear Lizzie flowers. They're kind of like on a foam dot, and then some tickets and flowers. And this one, I'm not sure that everything's going to coordinate, but I think that there's some pieces in there that I can pull out. And this is the Amy Tangerine paper. I'm not sure what the name of this paper collection is. And then here's some more of the Dear Lizzie pieces and some enamel dots. These are actually from Echo Park, but like 3 of the colors I felt like were going to go really well. And this is Maggie Holmes. I cannot remember the name of that collection either. And I can't read it. Anyway, just some little pieces of ephemera. Again, this is the Amy Tangerine sticker book. There's some florals in here that I think might work, and some little washi strips. And then another item I pulled out is the ephemera pieces from Kelly Bangs that she just released. I happened to get some of those a while back, so I'm going to go ahead and use those. And I'm going to try to set up a card for you today just to kind of show you the idea of how I'm going to work through this. So this is the week 1 set here. And I'm just going to do this with all of the cards. I'm going to go through and kind of do this assembly line. So the first thing is I'm going to cut out all of these cards. This set is designed for 4 days a week. So there's going to be 28 cards in total that have scriptures on them. And then doing the coordinating study. This I wanted to show here. There's also a little like faux washi strip that you can cut out, and then a tab that indicates that this is week 1. So I'm just pulling everything out. I'm using my We Are Memory Keepers tab punch here, and I'm gonna cut out that tab. These are designed, to work with that tab punch really well. So I'm just punching that out, and I'll do that for all 7 weeks. And there was also a page from the beginning, if you remember, of just a bunch of tabs. And so I went ahead and punched all of those out as well. And I'm just keeping them in this little bucket. I think this is actually what I'm going to keep my finished project in. And now I want to make some journaling cards. And so I have this paper pad from Archer and Olive. And it's dot grid paper. I know Janet was showing some grid paper that she was using. This is just stuff I have on hand, so I am trimming it down. These end up being like 4x6, I think, when I'm finished with them. So, but it's really heavyweight paper, so I won't have to worry about, markers bleeding through or whatever I want to do on that paper, because it's the same paper that's inside an Archer and Olive notebook. Anyway, I have continued to cut out some of the ephemera pieces. These are the pattern papers that you can get in the kit if you purchase the Salted Brew set. And so I cut those down, and now I am flipping through some of these paper pads just to see if there's anything that really sticks out to me for this first card. This is basically my introduction card. It's going to be at the very front. And so I am going to try and find some papers here. This is just kind of the process that I go through. I'm just trying to find something that coordinates, keeping my options open. I like this rainbow, but it was just too busy and just slightly off color. But I like this pink, these 3 colors with that orange in the middle. I just thought that was really cute. And then I pulled out this paper pad. It's called Cute Girl. Can't remember who it's by, but I liked this striped one, but those 2 colors right in the middle, that green was just not the right color. So again, this is just all how I go through things. I'm really wanting to use up some of my stash, so I'm pulling out everything here, and then I'm going to go through this Amy Tangerine paper pad as well and just see if there's anything in here that might work better than that pink page that I have back there. And as I'm going through, there's several pages that I think will work for this kit in general, but not necessarily for this particular card. So I am flipping through, and there's a little journaling card. I'm going to come back to that. That actually has rainbow stripes on it, which is so cute. But I found this cloud paper with these little kites on it, which is just so cute. And then this orange I felt really matched some of the colors well. So I'm just pulling that out and setting it to the side so I don't have to come back and find that paper later, because I'm sure I'll use it on another card. I'm not going to be using it today for this card, but I have a feeling I'll be using it for one of the others. So I'm just coming back to that little journaling spot, and I'm going to cut this out because it looks like notebook paper, but the lines on it are rainbow colored. It's really hard to see on camera, but it's super cute. So I'm just cutting that out so I don't forget that it's in there, and setting that over to the side. All my little bits and pieces I have in that little bucket up there. And so I have my pieces now. I'm going to make my card. I decide at this point, I'm trying to determine how big I want my cards to be, the finished size, because I'm going to use these pieces are like 3.5 by a little bit over 4, I think, the scripture cards. And so I want my pocket cards to be bigger than that. So I'm going to be creating pockets so that I can slide journaling cards down in there. And what I have done is I've just trimmed these down just a little bit. I didn't trim them quite exact when I first went through here, so I'm just cleaning up the edges on these here a little bit. And I'm just pointing out that green, obviously it does not really go with the paper that I've chosen, so I will actually be tearing that off, that green polka dotted part. But right now I'm just cutting these down. So I'm showing you they're about the same height as my journaling cards, but my pocket needs to be bigger than that journaling card. So my pocket will end up being 6 inches wide by like 4 3/4 high. I just feel like that's going to be a good height for everything. So I'm trying to determine which part of this paper I want to use based on the colors that are in that Encamped card. And then I'm going to save that scrap because there's some other cloud imagery in some of these cards. So this is the process I kind of go through. I'm just kind of fiddling, making sure everything's going to fit where I want, and my journaling card is still going to fit in there. And now I'm going to trim down this pink piece, and this is going to be the back side of this card. So I have the Encamped title on the front, and then on the back side I'm going to have this schedule that really just kind of highlights what we're going to be studying each of the 7 weeks. So I'm trimming these down, and then I will glue these back to back. So this is going to be the front side with the Encamped card, and then on the back side is going to be the schedule. And now I'm just going to embellish these cards a little bit. So here I am using this is the Barely Arts glue. You could use any liquid glue. If you're creating something that has a pocket, I would really recommend using a liquid glue if you don't want your journaling cards or your things on the inside to stick to the adhesive. So because it will dry completely, whereas if you use like a tape runner or whatever, it can create problems and make your stuff stick in there. So I'm just showing, I left this one as a pocket too, and because I want to include the other information from that first sheet from Llanet. And now I'm just rounding the corners on here. I just think that gives it a little bit of a more finished look. And the card that you're seeing right now is actually 5 inches tall, but I end up trimming that down. It just was just ever so slightly too tall for me. So I trimmed it down by 1/4 of an inch after I was done with all of this. You'll see that in the finished final photos. But so anyway, here I just went ahead and tore off that green section, and now I'm going to put this card on some Felicity Jane paper that just has a real tone-on-tone subtle background, and this is just going to help it so it really pops up off that background. And then I'm going to trim it back to basically the original size, so it will still have that same look as it did. It's just a different colored basically down at the bottom. So now I have that pink color instead of the green. And then on the back side, you can see I didn't line those up quite exact when I was gluing them down, so I'm just trimming those down so there's not that little white edge on that one side, because that would have driven me crazy for a while. And I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to put that card, so I still have not glued it down. So I'm working on the back, and I'm kind of feeling like I'm going to put a floral down in that bottom corner. So I went ahead and did all of that off camera, and this is how it looks when it's finished. So I used the clear sticker that says Team Godbow, and I used some cardstock and I popped it up on Pop Dots. So this is the printable. I printed this on clear sticker paper, so I just went ahead and put that on some white cardstock here, and then I just cut it out and then popped it up on some Pop Dots just for some dimension. And I used one of those flowers from the Dear Lizzie set, and I used some enamel dots. Those are the Echo Park enamel dots. And then I have some of the tickets back there, and then a little rainbow sticker to create that cluster. And then on the back side, I added it's like a little washi strip down at the bottom, and I just layered some stickers and some tags and some flowers. And that just wraps up this is the first card. So this will kind of sets the tone for everything that's going to be going after it. And it'll just sit in the front of all of my cards. And all of the other weeks will look like this. So here are some close-up shots of my card. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Till next time, bye-bye.